webinar number 9 of 2025. We are glad that you found time to join us here today. And we also realize that this topic has a very, very big interest amongst ourselves. In case you're joining us for the first time, welcome, karibu sana. We normally have these webinars each and every month. So be on the lookout for the next webinar, but in case you missed on the others, like I mentioned, this is webinar number 9. Please check on our YouTube channel, STTA Kenya. You're going to get the recordings from there on different topics related to sustainability. In case you're joining us for the second time or you are a regular attendee or participant of this webinar, we appreciate the fact that you always find time to join us here today to learn. Asanteni sana. So we'll begin in the next 3 minutes. So kindly introduce yourself. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box. Let us know who you are, where you're joining us from, and what are your expectations. In case you have any questions, any comments, put them in the chat box as well. We are going to check them out and even answer them as well. Yeah. Also, because of the little time that we have 1 hour 30 minutes. So kindly, in case you have any other question or any comments, kindly put them in the chat box. But also, we're also going to have a Q&A session at the tail end of this session. So your questions and even comments will be noted down and they'll be addressed at the tail end of this discussion. Asanteni sana. Yes, good morning once again. Thank you for holding up for those few minutes. We are ready to proceed. My name is Dominic. I'm also part of the team here at STTA. We'll proceed with this discussion today. Our discussion today will revolve around career pathways for young professionals in sustainable tourism. We've seen the big interest that is in this topic of discussion. And today we are also glad because part of our panelists and our co-hosts for this discussion are also students or students who have graduated or just about to graduate. So it becomes an easy conversation for all of us. Without going further into the details, I'm going to invite the host of this discussion today, Judy, so that you can proceed from there. Judy.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. And that's how we are going to roll today. Yes, we are going to roll today. We are going to clap. We are going to give thumbs up to our co-hosts. When something is interesting, I'll encourage you to celebrate it by using all those emojis as much as possible. I look forward to very stimulating discussions, very interactive, in fact. Allow me to rename myself for those whom we haven't met before. Like my colleague has mentioned, I am Judy Chefagona. I'm the team lead here at Sustainable Travel and Tourism Africa, where we curate trusted and dependable solutions for sustainable development of tourism. So whatever we do, we are trying to curate solutions for sustainable development of tourism. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. My colleague Dominic has already described the method and approach of these webinars, that they happen monthly. We have co-hosts that come to discuss very many different topical issues. We are now in our webinar number 9 of 2025. You can go and check our webinars for 2024. I think Dominic will provide you with a link. They have all got very useful tips. In today's discussion, one of the most asked questions by the travelers, by the participants who signed up for this, and many of you are young people in the early careers or still in school, thinking about how to formulate their career path. So it almost sounds like a career clinic for me, but it's not going to be a career clinic. We are going to have discussion. I am very honored this morning to be joined by 3 young women who are either students, ongoing students. Muthoni Muhindi is an ongoing student at Dedan Kimathi University. Stacey Ngina is in the tail end of her learning. She's graduating this year. And then we've got Mercy Chelimo, who already graduated and is part of our cohort 6 of STTA Young Change-Makers Rising Stars. And all of them, both Muthoni and Stacey, are part of our Young Change-Makers program with the university. So I'm excited to speak not to strangers, but people who are directly affected by the topic that we are going to discuss today. And we will hear their voices. They will introduce themselves. We will hear their voices. But before we do that, allow me to share or just enable us to reflect very, very quickly on a few things related to the topic we are discussing today. So give me a minute as I find I share my slide with you. It's not All right. Okay. So I have introduced my co-host, but I wanted to introduce the topic by asking three questions for us today. Oops, I've gone ahead of my slides. One of the statements that you read a lot and I find profound when it comes to the changing roles and evolution of careers in travel, tourism, and hospitality is that you read these statements a lot in papers that have been written. They say tourism careers are evolving beyond serving guests. And I think this is the turning point that curriculums in tourism training should pay attention to. What is this turning point that has prompted private sector researchers, academics to conclude that tourism careers, travel, and when I talk about tourism, allow me to use tourism to mean tourism, hospitality, travel, and all the careers that serve the tourism and hospitality industry. So what is it that has prompted this very profound statement that tourism careers are evolving beyond serving guests, which means it is about serving guests, it is about providing service in the industry at different levels. And that service could be policy, that service could be tour guiding, that service could be front office, that service could be travel agency, that service could be hotel manager, that service could be the porter's role, that service could be every traditional role that you know about in the tourism industry, the traditional career paths that we know about. But we are saying they should go, they are evolving beyond serving guests, which means there is a trigger. Something is happening in the marketplace. And the questions and the discussion that we're going to have today is also going to ask whether training programs in tourism, travel, hospitalities are catching up to offer those who are training skills that are beyond serving guests. And what do those skills look like? So there is transformation in tourism. I will not go into detail because this is not a presentation, this is a discussion. But I will highlight the transformations that are happening in tourism careers that maybe most of us have come across. You have seen this pop up in one place or another. So we're looking at, if we look at technology and tourism, everybody before COVID, during COVID, after COVID was talking about tourism will be changed by technology. Tourism will be changed by technology. But how are our training programs? Today, how many of us leave a university or a technical college knowing that I have trained, but I am going into the tech space or into the digital space because I have been prepared for that? For example, right? When we talk about a traditional role, like the person who sits in a reservation desk or somebody who is a marketing officer in the area, you have been trained to do marketing the traditional way. You have been taught the 4 P's of marketing, but you have not been prepared to be a marketer in an industry that is now heavily dependent on technology. So you find yourself with your papers as a reservation, you know how to do reservation, you understand marketing, but quickly you find that you are being replaced by digital distribution managers and data analysts. You find that people who have done actuarial science are replacing marketers. They are doing marketing and market analysis. They are doing risk analysis. And that's why you now call them data analysts, are doing the traditional role that will be done by a marketing officer. Does our training curriculum prepare us today, prepare students for this kind of role so that when I've left, graduated, I can apply for a job that says applications are open for digital distribution managers? Will I feel confident to apply for that job? This is actually a marketing officer who is tech-enabled. This is a reservations clerk who is tech-enabled, becomes a data analyst. So they're just not making reservations, but as they do that, they are able to tabulate that data and produce reports around them driven by technology. And so you find that there are emerging opportunities that are tech-driven. And I think this is where the biggest opportunities are, that today we have we've come across titles like digital experience managers. I don't know how many of you have come across those titles. We've come across titles like tourism data scientists. So we've got tourism data scientists, the ones who are, they track information around visitor flows. They go beyond arrivals and visitors spend. They are enabled, they are well equipped to understand ESG metrics. They are well equipped to understand spending patterns. They are well equipped to understand impact data and how that is collected. They are well equipped to understand M&E systems and tools. And I think today, anybody graduating with any kind of degree, not just in tourism and hospitality, without any skills in monitoring and evaluation and being able to tabulate data in a particular way, in one way or another, is going to be disadvantaged in the marketplace, because it's becoming a necessary, very, very important skill to have. There are other also related tech-driven, I know there is controversy and discussions around AI, institutions of higher learning, whether students will use them or not, and all those kind of things. But there is a space in there, in AI, where there is the personalization of people who can actually use AI for personalization of experiences, taking their client profile and using that client profile to personalize what that client needs. So it's not just using AI generally, but being aware of it and being trained and equipped for it in the industry. And we know that that is an explosive area. It's exploding, the space of AI. I have seen a few academics in the webinar today, and I would like you to engage maybe later on and comment on this space of AI. So the other areas that we see, other paths that are emerging, you see the paths that are driven. I've just talked about tech-driven evolution in careers. Then we've got sustainability and ESG-driven evolution. Sustainability is driving big time career pathways in the tourism and hospitality industry. We spoke about this, I think, last year in our NDS symposium when we were looking at green skills and the opportunities that are for careers for young people. You've got today carbon footprint auditors. We talked about that exclusively. We also have career opportunities in what we call circular economy coordinators in hospitality. I don't know whether you've heard about that, but that's a career path that is emerging. But it cannot be that you will find these opportunities if the training has not prepared you. And I think that that's part of the thing that we do with our Young Changemakers program, that we try to bring to the attention of students different topical discussions that will open up their minds about these opportunities that are available. So take note, there's something that is called circular economy coordinators in hospitality and tourism, which means you have to understand how the whole process works. You have to know where the nodes are. You have to know what the impacts are. You have to use different measurement tools to be able to come up with a report to support decision-making and investment. We also have impact measurement specialists, particularly in the space of community tourism. There is still a lot of, there's not enough professionals in tourism that can deal with communities and community ventures. You find that many people working in communities and tourism have actually come from other sectors. Why can't tourism and hospitality, knowing that very well that they utilize community assets for tourism like culture and heritage? A lot of tourism is happening in rural and remote areas. which means you have to deal with communities, but the students do not graduate with a deep understanding of how to work with communities, how to integrate community ventures, how to measure impact, how to co-create experiences with communities that are impactful but will also transform the lives of the communities. To understand that there is a process and system and steps that you have to go through to get a community license to be able to confirm that this particular community venture or community experience is approved by communities. So we lack those graduates from tourism who can play that role in the tourism industry. The last thing that I want to say is also that issues around governance and equity, I know you heard about them as students, are also redefining careers in the tourism industry. They are creating opportunities for community benefit managers. They are creating opportunities for policy innovation advisors. They're creating who can link grassroots initiatives to national strategies so that they're aligned. They're creating opportunities for something that happened during COVID, and we talked about it so much, but I'm not sure that curriculums have been revised to enable us to produce graduates and professionals who can say, I am a crisis and resilience planner in tourism, because I understand how crisis happened and how you build resilience, whether you're talking about resilience for climate, or you're talking about resilience in geopolitical situations that lead to sanctions and closed borders, all those diseases like we had COVID. So we need, those are significant career opportunities that are emerging. Lastly, but not least, others that are driven by traveler needs, the transformations that are driven by traveler needs and experiences. You find that travelers want to go beyond ticking boxes, and they want immersive experiences. Today, we want to see professionals who can curate together with the travelers and communities authentic and personalized experiences. Not just take another itinerary from online, from any tour operator, but we want graduates and professionals who can curate authentic and personalized experiences. And these opportunities are there in the industry for our graduates of tourism to come out of college as experienced architects, right? Who are able to take a situation, blend what the traveler wants. If the traveler wants to experience culture, conservation, blend that together and build a beautiful story around it. We've all been talking about storytelling. I think one of our webinars, we spoke about storytelling. I would urge all of you to go out there and see that this by itself is a career opportunity. Whether you're doing that storytelling one-on-one with guests or you're doing that storytelling virtually, storytelling is an emerging career path in the travel and tourism industry. At community level, again, because of the need for this curated, authentic, and personalized experiences, you find that there is need for what we would call community liaisons that bring out, who integrate the local voices into the, what would I call it, into travelers' journeys or into journeys. We need those officers, but they have to have the tourism travel skill and be community liaison officers, bringing out very boldly the voices of communities. As I finish, I would like to, before I invite my co-host, to share with us their experiences from their learning and where they are at and what their expectations are today. I think the last question we will be asking ourselves is whether our curriculums are responding. Unfortunately, when you read a lot of literature around transformation in careers, you will find that there is a unanimous voice that says that tourism and travel curriculums remain anchored in outdated luxury service paradigms. How to serve the luxury traveler, how to receive them, how to talk to them, and they don't go deeper beyond that. So what are we saying? There's probably a need for a paradigm shift in our curriculum. But let us hear the voices of those who really interact every day, who have interacted with the curriculums, who are now in the market, are in the process, who are thinking about careers, to share with us. So I would like to start by inviting Mercy. Mercy, if you can hear me, to introduce herself. Mercy will tell us where she went to school, what she studied, now that she's been out in the market, whether she feels like she was prepared. Has she seen gaps after leaving school that could have been covered by curriculum? And what opportunities have you seen, Mercy? Welcome, Mercy Chelimo.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mercy, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Mercy. I went to the Technical University of Mombasa, studied Bachelor's of Tourism in Tourism Management. And actually, I would say that STTA was the best part of the learning model. It really exposed us to a lot and a number of things in tourism. And I am really, really excited today to talk about something that really blends two things I absolutely love, or you absolutely love, which is travel and purpose. And we will dive into our topic later on when my time comes to share this discussion, what I have prepared for us. In other words, this topic is basically how can you build a career that lets you explore the world while making it better for the people, the culture, and the planet. And that by the end of the session, I hope all of us will see sustainable tourism isn't just a job, it's a movement. Thank you.
Thank you for those opening remarks, Mercy. I will allow Muthoni to go next and introduce herself with her opening remarks as well. Muthoni, can you hear us? Muthoni, are you here? Can you hear us? I can't hear Muthoni. I will move on to Stacey. Stacey, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Stacey. You can introduce yourself and give your opening remarks.
Okay, then thank you, STTA. Thank you, Madam Judy. My name's Stacey Ngina. I am a student, a final year student at the Cooperative University of Kenya, Bachelor of Science in Travel and Tourism Management. I'm actually excited to be co-hosting this conversation today because, like many of you, as you've heard, I'm a final year student. Also actively navigating these very questions about my career path. So I want to also help in the conversation of if this is where passion and performance lie in sustainable tourism. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for your introduction. Muthoni, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great. Thanks. You can do your introduction and your opening remarks.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name
Good
is
morning.
Muthoni Muhindi. I'm a third-year student pursuing sustainable tourism and hospitality management. I'm so grateful for this platform. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We have met. You have now met my co-host, and I will go straight into my first question. What were your expectations for careers, Mercy, even as you were leaving college? What were your expectations for careers in sustainable tourism or in tourism in general, based on your training?
Leaving college, we had a lot of diverse ideas on career paths, but majorly I wanted to fit into the tourism or tour operations. to get to engage and interact with guests, to curate meaningful experiences for the guests. And yeah, I think that is the path I fell into. That's it.
I'm not sure that I got you clearly because your sound is a little low, but yeah, I don't know that we can increase your sound, but you say that you are prepared for tourism, for tour operation. Is that what you said?
Sorry, I am saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the expectations that we had or that I had when leaving campus, it was not just about, let's say, a paycheck or anything. It was a falling into something, a purpose-driven work, something that creates a real impact for the communities and environment. Say tourism operations, getting to engage with the guests, getting to know what they really want, curating meaningful experiences. I was looking for the spaces that would innovate, that would lead, that would launch the new ideas. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So you had an expectation, and then you were looking for spaces that would accept you and will be conducive for you to practice your purpose-driven work in the space of sustainable tourism. I'll come back to you and ask whether you found those spaces. Are they readily available? Are they clearly open? Can you identify them in the marketplace? Or how did you search for them? And if you found them, how did you find them? As you prepare for that, I will go next to Stacey, who is about to graduate. And I will ask Stacey this question: how equipped are you as a young professional to take on some of the opportunities that we have? I've just highlighted very few of them, but do you feel equipped to take on the emerging new roles in tourism and hospitality? And are you able to identify them in the marketplace? Are they obvious for you?
Yes, thank you again for the opportunity. Being a student, it's more than just one certification. That's what I learned from the very first STTA when I was a first year in at the Cooperative University of Kenya when I did that presentation. So over the years, what I've known as a student is that you are constantly learning and you need more additional relevant certifications. Like there's a certification I just got recently from the Cornell University on sustainable tourism destination management. I got to understand that in as much as I've studied destination management, I haven't studied the sustainable tourism part of it. So getting that certification, I've gotten to know the tools, I can call them the indicator tools, whereby I can be able to use them on groundwork. And I've seen the gap in the Kenya's tourism industry, like the Marana-Boisho Conservancy. There's some green projects that are coming up, but I'm also in the question of how really green are they, because they're really living footprints. So I am quite confident, yeah, that with the additional certifications I've had, I am able to navigate in the industry and be able to tell that this is the problem and this is the solution. Yes.
Thank you, Stacey, and thank you. I hope the other students who are here, I just want to mention that that course at Cornell University is free for now. It's free for now. I have opportunity to be an instructor there. Please sign up. If you were at the last Changemakers seminar, I say to the students that you must have an identity. Part of building your career pathway is that you must have an identity beyond the perimeters of the university you attended. The day you walk out of that university and that community, your students and the lecturers, and you've carried your degree certificate, who are you? If you never built an identity elsewhere, where you have built other networks and are engaged in other things, you will find yourself alone and lost. And that's how you start asking, which career pathways are available for me? Because you did not build an identity beyond the perimeter walls of the university where you went. And that's what Stacey is telling us. And she's already answering some of the questions you asked while registering. where are the opportunities? Yeah, and she's telling you prepare for the opportunities. They're out there. Go and learn more than what is offered every day in the classroom. It is great, but build an identity beyond the institution and where you are and the people that you will leave the university with. Thank you, Stacey, for mentioning that pathway as one way to get yourself equipped. You get equipped at the university, but you also add unto yourself and grow so that you can take advantage. You can see that she's already, by just going out and doing the Cornell course, she has already identified that there are certain questions and gaps which she can use either to continue her education or probably to build a career around them, and look at how she can be part of the solutions in those spaces to truly define those green indicators. Going back to you now, Muthoni, I'm coming back to you. And my question to you is, do you feel like you already have a direction from the training that you have received? Do you feel confident you understand the tourism market space and you can begin positioning ahead of graduation?
Yes, I feel like I've realized I have the awareness and the purpose, but also investing in learning like the sustainable module, because in our curriculum, I find it like we are just learning about the, let me call it traditional tourism, where we learn about front office services, but in like sustainable driven modules like climate change, community based, it's quite challenged. That's why I feel like I still need to keep learning.
Okay, you need to keep learning. I will go back to Chelimo, who had talked to us about the path that she found, purpose-driven work, and she was looking for the spaces, and just hear from her how the experience has been trying to look for those spaces and fitting into them and applying what you are passionate about doing. Are the spaces available? Are there many opportunities and choices? And how have you grown in that space since you graduated? As Mercy is preparing to respond, can I ask that we have some other questions that you had sent earlier on, but we also open now the opportunity for you to ask any questions, because after this, I will now dive into the questions. Dominic will share them on the chat. And Mercy, Muthoni, and Stacey, you can look at the chat and the questions that have been asked after this set of questions, and you can choose some of them that you want to answer for us. I'm also inviting the faculty members who are here. If you look at the questions that have been posted that were asked mainly by students, you can also raise your hand and help us to answer them, or you can write in the chat, but we would like to give you an opportunity to interact with the students and answer some of the questions that have been asked by the students. Mercy, go ahead.
Thank you. I would say, here is the thing. Well, passion is usually very strong. The path is not always very clear. You will hear youth in tourism say that I want to make a difference in a community or in any part of the field, but then they do not know where to start. And that is a sentiment that it's more common than you can ever think of. So are we really ready? You're leaving campus, you think you are ready, but you are not. There are gaps. The training gaps would not be there, because then you're coming from school, you have enough training. Mentorship, I would say, if you join Sustainable Travel and Tourism Africa, you would have enough mentorship. There is networking. You have to network. You have to connect to the people in the field on LinkedIn or in other socials to get to that position where you have identified which one is your purpose, or which one is the field that you feel fits in for you. So before anything else, you should really know that apart from passion, which path do I want to take? As I've said, it's not always clear. You come out of campus, you want high-paying jobs and stuff. It's not always just about paychecks. What is the impact that you're going to put in? If it is entrepreneurship, which is a major draw nowadays, digital travel platforms, cultural experience businesses, starting your own, let's say, tour operations or eco-lodges, yeah? But then the main thing, the skills that you need are coming out of campus, or the qualification, the basic qualifications that you need is you need into sustainable tourism, you always need to stand out. You need a mix of head, a mix of heart, a mix of hand. By head, I mean the knowledge of sustainability, which if you join Sustainable Travel and Tourism Africa, as Muthoni has said, the units or the sub-courses that we get in campus are majorly tour operations, front office, reservations, and stuff. But then you need to stand out. You need to have that head start, the knowledge of sustainability, the heart. When I mean heart, is the passion for the people and the planet. The hands are the practical skills. Joining those beach cleanups, volunteering in different, let's say, wildlife conservancies, because I believe every experience you have before going outside to the career field counts. You might see that beach cleanup is something really small or something that isn't meaningful. Volunteering, people will mock you, or you don't get any coin, this and this, but then you're building an experience. You're building what you want to do. You're building a path for yourself. And when you're volunteering or when you're engaging in different activities, you are meeting people in this field, you're able to identify which path am I to take, which position do I want to go into. Is this really what I want? Getting started, you need to network. Networking on LinkedIn, as I've said, you get to connect with people from different needs. It's sustainable tourism is not just a career. It's usually a lifestyle. You show your impact, start a blog, build your brand, share your ideas. Build a green portfolio. When I start championing sustainability on your pages, on Instagram pages, Facebook, all the social media platforms, let it make it known to the people that this is what you want. This is what I am championing. This is what I am fighting for. This is what I am going towards. This is the path that I am going for. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. You have talked to us about how to prepare yourself for the opportunities by building an identity for yourself, so that when the opportunities come, you have already built your identity. And then you also mentioned in passing that there are gaps. And I just want to go back to you and ask, having been in the marketplace for not such a long time, but at least you have been in the marketplace, what is the biggest gap you see in training that could be improved on in training to help to prepare? Because you said that you might think that you are ready and you are prepared, but there is much, much more that you still need to learn. If you were to give an advice on curriculum, on just one gap that you have seen in the marketplace that could be improved in training, what would that be?
I would say training and mentorship is not usually enough. We need to get those practical experiences, because most of the universities or colleges or tourism institutions offer the theoretical parts of a number of things. If they could measure on the practical experiences, building those practical skills, getting hand in hand with what you want to do, or participating in something, not just by reading the notes through or being told of the histories or how this and this happens, but you should actually participate in something to get to know how these things work, how this is done. By the time you get to the industry, you would have that knowledge, you will have that practical skill. That is what I put it as when I talked of the skills that stand out in sustainable tourism. I mentioned the head, heart, and hand, where the head is the knowledge of sustainability. The knowledge of sustainability you get through these trainings or STTA in class. You receive that knowledge, the theoretical part. The heart is the passion that is upon you to work on yourself. And the practical experience I'm talking about is the heart, the practical skills that you need when you go to the outside world, when you move to the industry, is what is really needed.
Excellent. Now that you say that, and I know that all these trainings have industrial attachment at some point, is that enough to build these practical skills and fill that gap?
We go to, let's say, when you're undertaking a bachelor's, that is 4 years. You have 2 industrial attachments, that is around 6 months. Some of us, you can fall into the fields that you can never fall into the field that you're passionate about. You always get the attachments, not because you want to work there, but because you don't have any other place to go to. And the experiences you get there are not really enough. So I would say in these 4 years, if the institutions could really input the practical skills, it would be of great importance, because when you go to the field or you go to the attachments, it's not guaranteed that you will get all the practical skills you need. You might end up going to the hospitality industry and you are in the tourism industry just because you want your logbook signed, you want to attend an attachment, you work in the front office, you go to tour guiding, and maybe that is not what you're passionate about. So in school, you have these units, you have sustainable tourism and among a number of units. So if each unit would have, let's say, a session of some practical skills of what you really need to do or how you really want to get this done, that would be really helpful.
Oh, great. Yeah. Good to hear that. Good to hear that from you. Thank you for those insights that you have brought forth and identifying for us at least one gap, which is in practical experience. And the fact that you see that whereas the industrial attachments are good, sometimes they happen as a tick box because the student just needs the attachments form signed and stamped that they were somewhere. Yeah, and I think that is a challenge. It's a challenge getting those places. I'm not sure. I don't have the solution. Maybe those in academics can come up with a solution about that. But I see the gap that you are talking about and the fact that you might not get the experience that you so desire in the marketplace. I'm back to you, Stacey, and I just want to ask you a direct question. Have you identified your career pathway? What do you want to be? You've now even done the Cornell course, but have you identified the career pathway and are you feeling adequately equipped for it?
Thank you for that. The pathway that I would feel confident is consulting, since I have done it and I'm well versed with it. Consulting and also destination management, because we see destinations in Kenya. A very good example is Mount Kenya. We want the future generations to enjoy it, but what are we doing now so that we can enjoy it now and enjoy it in the future? So, plus taking that course and also other courses that I have done, another strength, there are only three: consulting, destination management, and green innovation. This is using technology, like the technology you have learned, the basic fundamentals of it, and how you're going to apply it in a sustainable manner. Yeah, so those are the 3 areas that I'm confident in.
Okay, so thank you very much. For these 3 areas, looking at apart from what you have learned outside of your school curriculum, do you feel like your curriculum prepared you for this, or it required you to blend with external learning?
That's actually a good question. This career plus also, first of all, it depends who is teaching you this course, because I've gotten to meet lecturers who push you to get to know, to get to additional knowledge with the additional resources they give. So they motivate you to go out there and look for other courses. And other courses, I've stumbled upon them on forums, seminars, in board meetings. So it depends with where outside you are so that you can get the external information.
Yeah, and so I still go back to my question. The external information, you have overemphasized it, but if you didn't have this external information, would your current curriculum still prepare you for these three parts?
Well, it would have, because of the courses that I got to learn in my third year, most especially specifically in my second semester in my third year. I got to learn the depth of sustainable tourism with Professor Kihima, and he took it like on a real depth to a point that I understood it. And there was destination management, there was everything about travel operations. So I was able to see the travel and tourism side and the sustainable part of them all. So I feel without the external information, there was still, plus the good, plus the how the lecturers teach, it really goes a long way. So yes, it still would have.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Muthoni, I'm going to ask you my last question, and then now I'll go to the questions that were asked in advance. And I'm asking all of you, Mercy, Stacey, look at the questions that were asked earlier on. The faculty members who were here, I think Dominic should have posted those questions so that we can take on those ones. But I'm coming to you, Muthoni. You're an ongoing student. You have listened to Mercy. You have listened to Stacey. And I'll go back to the question on what do you think we need to add to our training, tourism, hospitality training, to prepare students for the marketplace? Is there anything that needs to be added as an ongoing student?
Thank you, Judy, for that question. I feel like there is a lot of things that should be added in our curriculum so that to prepare us to maybe to face the tourism journey. For instance, like climate change, it's a big effect right now. It affects everything that is evolving. So having such courses and such opportunity to read about climate change may help us like bridge that gap between what we learn and what we expect in the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apart from climate, do you have any other recommendations?
Not really, but we have been learning about technology, which is also another effect, but now it's added in our curriculum.
Okay. Okay. So you're working with tourism and tech, yeah?
Yeah.
For smart tourism. I know it's called smart tourism in a lot of spaces that students need to learn about smart tourism using technology. I now open this discussions for the questions that have been asked, and my colleague Dominic is going to help me to pick out the questions that were asked. Just you can share her tips on the registration. Okay, that's what the Cornell University. It's open if you go to, yeah. Okay, Dominic will share some updates. I'm just looking at the questions that are emerging. Dominic, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for your interest in this conversation. those who are asking about the Cornell University, Stacey will tell you that there was a scholarship that was going around. It was being funded by, I think, by the Tourism Foundation and some other partners. And the course right now, unfortunately, the course has to be paid for. It's around 699 USD. But there are so many other opportunities if you check. I'm going to share another opportunity. If you are able to check on UN Tourism Academy, they have another similar course, which is on sustainable tourism development. So that is free of charge. You just need to register and you're going to get a certificate at the end of the day. But now the catch is you have to pay for the certificate. But anyway, you're there because of the knowledge. And I think that's the knowledge that you require. So there's a similar course, which is on sustainable tourism destination management that is being offered by UN Tourism. So if you're able to, you can check on their page, UN Tourism Academy, that you're going to find there as well. But if you're LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn has many other opportunities for online courses, virtual courses that you can engage in to understand more on, the different areas on sustainability, including even how to come up with a strategic plan for a company. Or those are the short online courses that you can participate in. Also to mention that we also have courses as STTA. We offer courses at very, very subsidized prices. So if you check on our website, sttakenya.org, you're going to find those courses there. So it all starts with you. You can invest in yourself. You can say that for your birthday, you're going to sponsor yourself for a course. Yeah, it only takes 6 hours. So for a 6-hour course, you get a certification that is well recognized in Kenya. So when you're applying for opportunities, you can say that you participated in a certain virtual training opportunity, and this is what you learned, because the key outcomes for each and every course that we offer, they are clearly outlined, and we always have a coaching plan after that. So for those of us who are asking for opportunities, there are so many opportunities. But now on the questions that you guys were asking, there's a question that was asked about what platforms or networks can young professionals join to connect with mentors and industry leaders in sustainable tourism. That was question number 1. And for that, I'm going to mention that there are a few professional networking opportunities that I've seen around. For the ladies who are here, I've seen the Kenya Association of Women in Tourism. That is a very good opportunity for you to interact with the professionals within industry. And I think in that association, there are different, there are different membership categories. And I think for students, there's a category for students, if I'm not wrong. So that will be a very good entry point for you as well. You can join that, and also the one of the reasons why we are convening this is because we have a very interesting model, I say, innovative learning practice. It's called the Young Change-Makers Programme. I reckon that we have first years in this conversation here today. I've seen a few questions that point me to that direction. So for the first years who are here, and we have a Young Change-Makers Programme. This is called the Young Change-Makers Programme. Almost all the students who are here, who are the hosts with duty today, they have gone through the program. So it's called the STTA Young Change-Makers Programme. And it's one of the mediums in which we try to blend what the industry expects and even what you've been taught in school, so that you can have a synergy. So that by the time you're graduating, you know exactly what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to look at. You've made the necessary, networking opportunities, with the industry leaders, and that is the main goal of the program. Now, with that, of course, there's a membership fee that goes into it, and that is 200 per year. And 200 per year means that you're going to get a certification showing that you are a member of the Young Change-Makers Program to begin with, and then you also get a membership card. So just in case you're going for, you're seeking opportunities, you can say that I'm a member of the Young Change-Makers Program, which is a program that has today mentored more than 6,000 students. So that is also another another professional group that you can join in regards to that. I don't know if I'm missing any other. I think Judy will comment on that if she has other platforms or networks that she has engaged with. for young professionals, for you to interact and connect with mentors. Then we had question number 2: how can we optimize social media to create opportunities for ourselves in sustainable tourism? Mercy, you had mentioned something on that. Would you want to comment on that? How we can optimize social media to create job opportunities for ourselves in sustainable tourism?
Yes. Thank
Yes, please
you.
go ahead.
One thing I would say is build your personal brand around sustainable tourism. Yeah. Be consistent in the content you create or you post on these social media platforms. Define your niche. Show your expertise. Which part are you really good in? Use these platforms not only for fun but as networking tools. Join these LinkedIn groups, connect with professionals on LinkedIn, engage with the tourism professionals, attend virtual sessions such as the one we are having right now, and promote 1, 2, 3 services on the social media platforms. Let's say promote destinations you go to by showcasing what it has, what it gives to the tourists, and by that you would have optimized these social media platforms and create yourself connections that could lead you into getting opportunities for yourself or even in the sustainable tourism. When you go to a destination and showcase what the destination has, post the content, the next time somebody would view that, they would be like, I want to really know what this destination has. I would really want to be part of this. By that, you start generating and getting more ideas of what you could really do apart from just posting the contents and showing what you are good at or the expertise that you are good in. And by that, you can even start building some small tours, take a few of your friends to a particular destination. The next step, by the time you go to 1, 2, 3, 4 places, there would be a number of people who are really interested to see or to get from you what you really offer as an individual. You can't just sit there and wait for opportunities to come your way. We create them, because I believe as young professionals, we have fresh ideas, we have bold ambitions, and we have a really huge hunger for change. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mercy, for that. I think I'm so heavy on personal branding. Right now, there are so many issues that face sustainability. Of course, there are opportunities, and as much as there are misses, there are hits. Recently, I think Uber came into the limelight, and everyone was talking about it. And there was a lot of conversation about their model, and the model. Many people are saying that the model is based on just commercializing, the whole aspect of tourism now, because with Uber it comes with a lot of convenience and everything else. But now I have seen people now critically critiquing the whole model and how it will standardize, tour operations and everything else. You see, if you have a platform like LinkedIn, or you have a platform like Twitter or anywhere else, and there will always be emerging issues in tourism, and especially things that touch on governance or even operational issues or anything else, or even on policies and everything else. But if you have if you position yourself as one person who is always critically analyzing things, and even giving other country context or other case studies of how this has worked or it has not worked, or how it will end up eventually. I think at some point people are having a discussion about, Uber has come now. It'll it will make tour operators, MSMEs tour operator who are just starting out, and they'll be chased out of the market because of standardization that comes with that and all that. But you see, it's a conversation. It's a conversation. Everything starts from a conversation. And when the people start seeing that you're coming out as a voice of reason within certain context in sustainability, then trust you me, you're already positioning yourself and you're already optimizing social media for what it is. Right now, I think also X, you can just start an X-based conversation, just one, and just be bringing this conversation, and you can make it something that happens maybe by monthly or even you know or even weekly or something. Just a conversation, just looking at the opportunities and even the trending issues in tourism. You're already positioning yourself as a voice of reason, as a thought leader in sustainability. That's how you optimize. I've gone to spaces where people don't even know you, but the moment you mention your name, they say they have seen you on LinkedIn, they have seen your name on Twitter or anywhere else. You see, you're not just like anyone else who just got into this space. At least people you've already started creating networks. You never know how many people read what you write, or you never know. But when you get into these spaces, that's when you know now the magnitude of how social media is a very big thing. I think most of us also travel a lot. I think right now it's with this generation, I've seen people going on weekend trips, road trips, and everything else. You can also look at the sustainability bit of it. Uh, how how you can make the road trips maybe to minimize plastics and everything else. How maybe you can create a good experience for other people. There are other opportunities on Airbnb. I've seen people create experiences on Airbnb. That is also another medium that you can, come up with and position your product or your offering or your experience in a more sustainable way. So there are plenty of opportunities, but it all starts, like Mercy had mentioned, it all starts with personal branding. There are so many of us, so many people in the field. How do you differentiate yourself? Totally based on what you put forward, so that people can consume. So thank you, Mercy, for that input. And the other question was about how can tourism create job opportunities for young people in countries under sanction. I think this was asked by a student out of Kenya. Judy, are you able to cover that? How can tourism create job opportunities for young people in countries under sanctions?
Countries under sanctions. When I think about countries under sanctions and tourism, I think about South Africa. Maybe many of you were born post-apartheid, and so you never heard about apartheid in South Africa, or you learned about it. But during that time, there were sanctions. For many years, people could not travel to South Africa because they had sanctions. But that is also the period that South Africa built its domestic tourism market. So when we ask that question, I get the impression that when we think about tourism, we're thinking about international visitors. And this has been the problem and the bottleneck for developments of regional, interregional, and domestic travel in Africa. Because we are wired to think that if there are sanctions against Africa or an African country, it can't build its tourism industry. It can build its tourism industry for its domestic market. And over the last 10, 15 years, the tourism industry has grown exponentially in Kenya, the domestic tourism market, because they are entered into the marketplace young tour operators, indigenous young Kenyan tour operators, who started before they could handle any international tourists. They started by offering excursions to Kenyans. They started by hiring buses. They started by calling people using social media, like Dominic has said. And at that time, they were using X a lot. X was still called Twitter, and it was very popular, and it was very social. It's not as political as it is today. So social conversations would happen very decently, and people would ask. I saw people post on X and say that I have a group departing, an excursion departing to Nairobi National Park from Kencom Hilton at 9 o'clock on Saturday at this particular time. And people would show up without previous booking. You just show up. If you have your 1,000, you pay, you get into the van, and you go and you're given a bottle of water, you come back and you're dropped at the same venue. So when there are sanctions, it's a great opportunity to be creative and innovative about our own spaces and experiences. This is the time where people discovered that is maybe post-COVID or before COVID, that people just said, we can get into a vehicle and drive to Magadi and come back, to go and see these places that we have seen in geography books but have never gotten there. And they carry their own, and they go out next, stop by Lake Magadi, take their picnic lunches, enjoy themselves, take their beautiful pictures, and drive back to Nairobi. So sanctions should not stop the growth of tourism, because the domestic market and opportunities are still there. And I want to challenge young people. I think it is Mercy who said earlier on that there are opportunities that are there in employment, but there are also opportunities in entrepreneurship, which means you have been qualified. You have left the university with a paper that enables you to open a tourism company, because you're trained, and you can then design how that tourism industry works, how your product works, how your enterprise works. You don't have to go and do exactly what everybody else is doing in the industry for the last 50 years. So I think the challenge, the greatest challenge, I saw a question here. What is the greatest challenge for young people in sustainable tourism? And I would say your greatest challenge is innovation and creativity. Everything lays before you, but you've got to be, you cannot be taught innovation. Yeah, you cannot be taught creativity. Innovation is something that you see your environment, and you use what you have, and you see an opportunity, and you take advantage of it, and you design an enterprise around it. That one we cannot teach you innovation. And so the biggest challenge is that we have very, very few innovators in the space of sustainable tourism. We have very, very few people who are coming up with creative ways of doing things, alternative ways of doing things, other than the traditional one that we have known. Like, again, Mercy told us, and also Muthoni, that there is a way in which you are taught about reservations, in which you are taught marketing, in which you are taught about all those things that you're taught. But now it's you to take that knowledge and go out there and say, what can I do? What can I do with this knowledge? And you are growing and looking for career pathways in a time where you have the social media space at your disposal. I have seen a young woman who attended a session I had in Mombasa at Swahili Port. We were doing a session for young people who have left school, who haven't even gone to college, but are living in that particular neighborhood. And we were talking about how do we create opportunities for youth in tourism. And we gave basic examples. We said, you know what? Airbnb is an opportunity. This shared spaces is an opportunity. And we took them through how Airbnb works. We told them about personal hosting. You can provide personal hosting experiences. Just create a platform, talk about your neighborhood, say to people that if they want a tour around your neighborhood, you have a phone number, you have a price structure, you have and following that mentorship and career planning for young people who had dropped out of school, had not found an opportunity to go to college. I have today social influencers from that training who are running social enterprises. They actually started hosting people in their neighborhoods, in their villages. They don't have to own an apartment, but their experience offers. They curated experiences, and people can find them. So when they make sure, because one of the things we taught them is how to be present, to be visible online, digital visibility. And I have several young people who their lives just changed completely. Some of them started by hosting experiences. Today they are renting rooms, and they are actually hosting people under the Airbnb platform. So, and that is about what Mercy talks about. You have to have something that you care about, and you want to do it, and you think deeply about it, and then you can be creative about it. but you can start somewhere. But if you are fixated that the only way to do this is for me to work in a hotel, or for me to work for a tour company, or for me to be employed by government, or for me to do this, if you're fixated in that, you will not see one opportunity. Even if you went through 100 mentorship sessions, you will think that those mentorship sessions are for pastime. You probably attend an STTA Change-Makers workshop. You probably attend other seminars organized by your institution. But you think that they're part of passing time while you're a student. But what we have learned from these young change makers talking to us today is that they're building a brand before they leave the walls of their university. They have an identity, they have networks, and those networks can actually shape where your career goes. You might actually leave the university not very sure what you want to do, but because you're endowed with so much knowledge and you've been actively engaging through those networks, you will find a pathway, and that becomes your pathway. Your pathway might be you want to become you want to work in the climate space. I just mentioned earlier on that there are career opportunities in that particular space. We're looking for people who are interested in the carbon footprint of tourism. You work in hospitality. You are trained as a chef, but you want to find out what is the carbon footprint of that meal that I put on the table, of those menus that we design. And you might say that my career path is to design menus that are still quality. They can be 5-star, but they have the minimum footprint. That is a niche area. You are a chef on a mission. You can even call yourself, I'm a green chef, I'm a sustainable chef. All my menus, I calculate the footprint, and I make sure that at any given time, the ratio in terms of footprint does not pass the threshold, the global standard that has been set acceptable, that is acceptable for what footprint a meal can have. But you will not see it that way if you sit in one of those seminars and just hear about carbon and you don't start asking, how does it relate with what I do? How do I soak in this information and process it? And I'm saying this to answer generally the many questions about how do I find a pathway? How do I know which pathway exists and all those? It's all, and I'm saying it's all around you. It's all around you. You must be present. You must be present with your mind, with your heart, like we have been told, and ready to look at what you can do with your hands. So your presence with every being of you, whether you are sitting in a classroom, whether you are communicating or reading something on LinkedIn, balance your time. I always encourage students to build their LinkedIn profile before they leave college. You start having a very distinct voice. We know what you stand for and what you are passionate about. And somebody will look at you and say, hey, I would like to get so and so on board because I know what they stand for. They have actually demonstrated consistency. They speak very passionately about this. Somebody might just offer you a scholarship to go in the pathway that they think you are passionate about. But you can't find the pathway if you are not actively and presently involved in day-to-day learning and other conversations that are happening around you. I want to leave it there for now and give back to Dominic. Thank you. Do I have any faculty member here who would like to make a comment? Mercy,
Yes.
your question is.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mwalimu.
Yeah, my name is Dr. Peter Osiako from Dedan Kimathi University of Technology. And first of all, I appreciate, thank you very much, Dr. Judy. I appreciate very much this session, the seminar, the ongoing one, which is very informative and very inspirational for our early career, especially students, that is, in the universities and colleges. Yeah, I've been following, and actually the discussion and the deliberations are very important and informative to the students. And then I appreciate also the co-hosts, that is Mercy, we have Muthoni there, and we have Stacey for their input, which is very informative, and questions that were asked again, very good. And yes, I think most of them have been answered well and addressed by you panelists and also the STTA team. Thank you very much for the work you are doing and addressing those questions. Maybe just to add to what has been said is that a curriculum that are followed by universities, well, we align them with we try our best to align them with what the industry needs and what the industry expects of our graduate, so that when they get to the field, students, when they join the industry, they're able to fit somewhere. Sometimes, and their curricula are not uniform, so they're not harmonized in a way. So you may find one curricula lacking this, another one in another university has more of this than this, another one has more of this than this. And again, apart from them varying very much, we find that a curriculum may remain static for 5 years or 7, depending on when it will be reviewed again. So I may encourage our students that apart from what is taught in class, there is room for learning like new trends, which might not really feature in the curriculum. For us who teach, sometimes we go beyond that and introduce also what is emerging issues that have come up and include it in the teachings that we do. But not everyone will do that. Sometimes some of us may be very strict to what the curriculum provides, so that they go word by word what the curriculum provides. But now students, I think a good student is one who is very open-minded and should endeavor to especially get to know what is emerging. And I loved what has been said about networking. It's very important to network, at least join some network, like the one we have here, which is Young Change-Makers. It's one way to start networking, actually a very, very good opportunity to start networking. And apart from that, make yourself visible, as has been said, so that you learn where you get the knowledge, but some things are never in the curriculum and will never be there. So it's what you learn also from the environment, listening to news, and building your own brand, like Dr. Judy has said, so that what do people know you about? Are you just a student, or are you known to be special in a way in tourism as a student and also as somebody who is aligned to sustainability? Readership, yes, be a good reader. Some of this information, like it has been said, you may attend forum and learn from industry players and mentors, but sometimes you also reading on your own is important. Let's not just read what will come in the exam. Sometimes it may be limited. Read wide. Read what is trend, what is happening in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, East Africa, West Africa, the airline industry, the shipping industry. Yes, some of these things may not be in the curriculum, but you having that knowledge may help you a lot to get somewhere or to build yourself in a certain line career-wise. There are platforms that can help you also navigate and get to realize yourself better, like a volunteership, the attachments you go to. Let it not just be a formality, like I have to go for attachment for 3 months and then I'll have completed the requirement for graduation. No, when you go there, maybe take it like an opportunity to like market yourself, gain knowledge, at the same time also network, so that it will help you in a way. Maybe lastly, it's about yeah, I've talked about networking. Yeah.
Mwalimu, we lost you.
The good examples that have been given here, they are very, very important about organizations like the Kenya Association of Women in Tourism. With such, maybe or in the future, we may have such a forum again where we are, such a seminar that we are having today can really help students also to be able to to understand some concepts deeper and the industry better. Sometimes in classroom situation and learning and trips, we may use technical languages, but here we put everything plain and simple, understandable, the way it's being articulated. And for that reason, then I'm encourage students, yeah, just get time and find yourself in such a forum whenever there's an opportunity. There's really a lot to learn. Yeah, that's my contribution for today. But most of the questions I see that are asked have been answered well. Maybe I will not add anything to that. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Mwalimu, for adding that input. I have also learned just from listening to you. You have reminded us that there are things that will never be in the curriculum, and students should learn from the environment, listening to news. They should read widely beyond what is coming in the exams, so that they build their market knowledge. And that's what I call market knowledge. We all go to school to get book knowledge, and book knowledge helps us to pass our exams and get the papers. But the market is looking, when you go out to the market, they don't care sometimes about your book knowledge. They want your market knowledge. How has that knowledge you learned in school, the book knowledge, how can it help them to solve the problems in their company? How can it help them to improve on what they're already doing? How can it contribute to bettering their environment and the workspace? So that is how you should see yourself in the marketplace, that you are going to be a solution provider. You are going to be a steward, not just a worker, reproducing what you learned in school. Book knowledge gets you the paper. Market knowledge gets you the pathway that you are looking for. And that market knowledge is your responsibility. The teachers have done their best. They give you what they can within the hours that are provided for training. Getting more information, getting more knowledge around your area of study, building the networks like we have said is absolutely the responsibility, direct responsibility of each and every one of us. And it does not end when you leave school. Even when you're in the workplace, you are constantly building your market knowledge so that you are able to provide solutions for the industry. You are able to be a steward in whichever area that you are working at. For those who are starting, if you are first years, by the time you're in fourth year, if you take on this, the insights you have had today, we believe that the career pathways that are there, you will be able to tap onto them. And you can also create new ones, more than what we have. Like today, I just looked at 4 areas. I looked at 4 disruptors that are disrupting the traditional career paths in tourism. And already from those 4 disruptors, I already had more than 15 or 16 career pathways that can come out of them. Now, imagine if we were to look at 10 disruptors. Those are more than 100. And then each one of us, using our own creativity and innovation, can break down each one of those further into many pathways. So instead of asking just which pathways are there for me, we can also flip the question around and say, which pathways am I seeing from what I have heard and what I have learned? Which pathways can I come up with that will serve the industry, bring solutions, but also bring me fulfillment as an early career professional in sustainable tourism? At this point, I want to just give me 1 minute as I get back to okay. Before I finish, I think there's one other faculty member who wants to say something, and that is Christine. Please, the floor is yours. Madam Christine from Dedan Kimathi University, thank you for joining us.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Now I
This
can
is
hear you.
Sorry.
Oh, this is Judy. This is Judy
Yes.
Rob. Judy, please, Mwalimu, go ahead. Go ahead, Dr.
Sorry,
Judy Rob.
I was waiting for Madam Christine, and then I realized maybe you didn't get the name. So good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you once again. I think this has really been wonderful. This discussion first of all, before I even get into that, Dr. Judy from Technical University of Mombasa. So Mercy is my former student. And I want to say really I'm proud of the information that not only her, but the rest of the panelists also that they have given us. I think they have really spoken up as to what challenges they go through. And I'm hoping that if all our graduates were in such forums, even just by themselves, they'll be able to give themselves information, encourage one another. And also, because you said information is knowledge, communicating, being able to get that information is very important, can help even somebody who was stuck somewhere, maybe for one reason or the other. So I want to also applaud what all the panelists, Judy, Dr. Osiako has mentioned, Dominic, all these things I don't want to repeat, I believe are really good. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and get this the link to today's discussion and give it to my former students, because we've had such a discussion in the alumni groups, which we usually start for us students, to those who've graduated, to join, so that we can be able to discuss and find out how they are doing out there. So this is something that can actually encourage them. But just to support what Dr. Osiako has said, that the curriculum may not capture everything. And as things change, which we know the industry is dynamic, and with the cycle of that curriculum being a bit longer, it is up to the lecturers, individual lecturers, to actually bring in or talk about these new things or that have come in the industry that may not necessarily have gotten into the curriculum, that by the time we get to do that, at least we have spoken about. So it's still a challenge that we are also challenging ourselves, that we are able to mention them to our students as we await for that curriculum to be changed. Also, like Madam Judy said, I believe that's something that I've really taken home. Creativity, innovation is not something that is taught. Yes, so you have taught what is in the curriculum and the theoretical, we apply the practical a bit in the internships, but it is what is you have, what can you bring that is new? If you have that creativity, or if you're able to put it out there through, now, as we've said, there are many platforms as we've been given. I've also given some using the alumni also as a way of interacting, because as we've said, friends can give each other information. We have other platforms that have already been given. Then we can be able to come up with something new, really, other than depending on only the white collar job that that once I'm done. And I believe that is something that comes out of most people once they leave, that I want to go and get employed. I want to be a travel and tour consultant. I want to work as a housekeeper and such, which, as Judy has told us, may not be the case out there at the moment. And that is true. So what is this new thing? What is this talent? Something that you are passionate, as Mercy talked about, that you are passionate about, and how can you change it to make a meaningful, something that can translate to creating work for you, as well as, of course, you are communicating something out there to the tourists, as well as to the industry overall. So also, maybe what I can say is, as the universities or institutions who are teaching, maybe because Mercy raised an issue on training, as well as getting that access to those trainings. Yes, the platform. So yeah, it's something that sometimes, because we've tried or I'm sure other lecturers can attest to that, getting the industry to work with the institution. And that is one thing that is very, very important for sure. Not just in coming up with a curriculum, which is a requirement, definitely, because you need to know what the industry wants, but also in getting them to assist. What can they assist us, assist our students in terms of giving them trainings or exposure? So there are some, we are hoping that through the associations like Kata Kato, which are actually willing, once we are done with the bureaucracies of signing MOUs and all that, they are able to assist our students in creating that platform for them to interact or network even before they go out there, before they graduate. So they are able to get to work or interact with tour operators, hoteliers, and so on at the time, and they can be able to, like a symposium that is organized. And I think Qatar has something like that. So we are hoping that we are able to get that so that it can, because we also feel that maybe we are not in internship or industrial attachment may not be enough for sure for them to get all the training that they would require. So those can actually be helpful. So we are going to, I want to say we are still learning from this and going to work towards making our students better at the end of their program. So I think I want to stop there. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much for adding your voice to the conversation, Dr. Judy. Yeah, we appreciate that very much. Christine, you're back. Thank you. Now you can speak.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Apologies for the mishap earlier. I think my mic is usually muted on this app because of the size of participants we have during these meetings. Before I make my remarks, I want to thank Judy, Mercy, Muthoni, and Stacey for candidly sharing your insights with us, as well as having those well thought out questions. Giving us a point of reflection to bounce on, either as people who are administering certain curricula, championing for certain units, and even engaging with industry practitioners. I was taking a couple of notes because in academia we love notes. The fact that community-based tourism is something that we have not been teaching very well, as well as crisis resilience and recovery, as well as our updated approach to accessing and managing tourism markets, specifically still focusing on the luxury markets or the high spenders, are things that in academia maybe we really need to look at again. And these are things that can, we do not necessarily have to wait for a curriculum to be reviewed for us to work on them. So for instance, when we are having case studies that are shared in class during delivery of theoretical content, these are things that we can include. When examinations are being set, instead of asking students those recall questions on, target marketing, we need to challenge the mindset and ask the students to actually tell us, if you were to target or develop an itinerary for students to go to Nanyuki, for instance, for the weekend, how would you price it? How would you promote it, instead of just focusing on the person who is coming in from a foreign country? So there are small things that we can do in between in terms of how we can sit with if the students are exposed to some of the shortcomings that have been mentioned in curricular delivery. However, in academia, as has been mentioned by Judy as well as Dr. Seko, we have a process that we go through in terms of curriculum review. And this is one of the tools that we use to get feedback, not only from the industry, but also from the students, either while the learning process is going on, or even once they join the industry. So we're very much alive to the fact that these challenges are there. The challenge that we have is that curricula have to run an entire cycle, usually 4 years, then we start to review after 4 years. So by the time we're implementing these changes and the world is moving so fast, a couple of new changes have come up as well. So we are stuck again in that cycle. Maybe perhaps there's a need to shorten the review cycle. And of course, this recommendation usually comes from the persons who review curricula. Perhaps it's in the interest of students to know that we do not just develop curricula on our own as the people who teach you. There's a very elaborate process where academics within the field, both in academia and even industry practitioners, come in to critique and identify shortcomings that are there. Otherwise, your curriculum will not be approved. So again, this is a call to action to the students when we ask you for feedback on how on how the curricula was delivered. Please be as candid as our speakers have been today. For the people who review our curricula, also be as candid as well. In the Dankimati, we've invited STTA several times when we've been reviewing and developing curriculum for bachelor's and undergraduate programs. And we have always gotten feedback that sustainability needs to be anchored in almost every unit. Even marketing has sustainability components in it. So for the academics who are here, please invite members of the movement moving forward. And they don't have to be academics in your curriculum review processes. I also wanted to talk about attachment experiences, and we are also alive to the fact that when students go for attachment, they're given a lot of the position or placed in areas that require a lot of technical skills. Granted, this is okay for the first attachment. However, it would be good also to engage industry practitioners to allow them to have students have more immersive learning experiences. In the past, we had management internships, management training programs that would run for an entire year. And people would be exposed to, say, a particular brand. I don't want to mention brands here, but you would work with them for an entire year and you learn the full scope of the business, because sustainability is not just understanding one part, it's about understanding how the parts make up the whole. So having these short attachments sort of are putting it as putting us at a disadvantage and making us, keep on repeating the same things over and over again without necessarily having people come in and appreciate the full cycle and also implement some of the solutions that we think would make the business better in the long run, not just for the shareholders, but also for local communities, as well as for the guests themselves. So it's more of a holistic process. So we need to partner with people in industry who offer these experiences so that we can really relook at how these attachment experiences are being offered, because there's a serious gap there. The other thing that I noted was there was this remark on how we do or how we offer trips, as well as how technical skills are offered within the university. And we have admitted that we have certain resource constraints. Obviously, we cannot be able to take sometimes to explore all of the circuits that we have within the country. But again, we encourage students to use various platforms that are out there to get to explore these circuits in one way or another. Join a sport. People who play rugby will go for an inter-university tournament somewhere. Someone will pay the fare for you. Go and look at what nightlife looks like there. Visit the park that is there. Join movements like First Aid, for instance. You'll be able to learn about some things you can do that will up your survival game when you're in the bush. But the long and short of it is, the resource constraints will always be there. Even when I was in campus, we had constraints as well. But you have to learn. If there's one thing you should learn from today's forum, is learn to invest in yourself. Do not wait for a curriculum to be put in place to look for you. Do not wait for that lecturer to tell you. When we're in class, instead of a Q&A session at the end of a topic or in the middle of a plenary session when you're discussing a topic, bring up a case study. G2 bring up a case study and tell me, I saw this, or this is trending on socials. Have you seen this? Can we discuss it? Then we bounce off ideas off of each other during that session. And that is how learning can become more interesting. That is how learning can actually take place with the aim of changing how we do things. I always tell students it's not about passing exams. The real test of whether you have done sustainable tourism and hospitality management comes once you have graduated and you're expected to make an impact within your industry. So that's all I wanted to say. Just invest in yourself and keep on looking for people to partner with. There are always people who are like-minded, and even work with those people who have of contrasting ideas that help you look at things from a different scope. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Am I muted? Thank you for that input. Very, very useful. I see many hands up. I see Mercy, as you speak, I want to give you your parting shot. But before I give you your parting shot, I'll just want to add that we offer, as part of our learning spaces in the STTA Change-Makers Program, we have what we call the Product Watch. We pay students to go and visit attractions and write a report about it. But can you believe that we struggle to get students to do that? And that is a practical learning experience. We pay your entry fee, we pay for you to get there. All we need for you is to do a proper, we are actually preparing you for another career pathway that is called sustainability assessors. We send you and we give you a guideline and you come and write a report, and then we work with you to review your report. It builds your skill on how to do a sustainability assessment and what to look for. But we struggle to find students to do this. We struggle to find students, and all of you are here asking, where are the career pathways? What can we do? We have just learned that sometimes the university may have, even when I went to school, the institutions never have enough resources. They can't give us everything. They give us the bare minimum that they are supposed to give us. And then you have an opportunity where you're being given a travel allowance. You're told, this will take you, this will buy you a drink or lunch to and fro. This is your entry fee. Go and review a place and write a report. And we still don't get interest in that space. And then we finish school and we're asking, what are we going to do? There was a career pathway. And then you see a job asking for a sustainability assessor, and you say, I was never taught that in school. Challenge to young career professionals. Mercy, your hand is up. As you speak, you will give your parting shot, your concluding remarks. Then Stacey, give your concluding remarks, followed by Muthoni, and then we will come to the end. I believe we can pick this conversation again, maybe in our seminars or as we visit your universities, because we find that it is of interest and the questions have been overwhelming. Mercy, over to you for your closing remarks, parting shot.
Yeah, before the closing remark, there was an interesting question that how can young professionals who are passionate about sustainability but still early in our careers gain practical experience or visibility in the industry? I wanted to respond to that question by saying, you don't need years of experience to start building credibility. All you need to do is to be intentional and to be proactive. Number one thing is to start small. Start with a small or even the local projects. Do not wait for your dream job, or you can create or join some local sustainability efforts. A number of people would do away with the volunteer thing, but it really helps. If you volunteer in the beach cleanups, in ecotourism events, what you gain is you will have real world experience. You will have stories to tell online. Some people will look at those stories as minor, but they really speak a lot. The photos you get from the activities you engage in can build a data for your portfolio. Number two thing is in turn with sustainable travel startups, even if it means short terms or maybe a 2 or 3 months unpaid internship, it can open you doors if the experience is really meaningful. And a tip to this is you have to focus on mission-driven organizations that by the end of your internship, you would have gained something meaningful. Number three is I would still insist on building a portfolio of your work. Document everything that you do, no matter how small it is. Let nobody discourage you of whatever you're doing. Make sure you document that little thing that you do, because I believe the little that you showcase outside here can bring an impact. My closing remarks will be, the beauty of sustainable tourism is that there is no single path. You can come from business, you can come from the environmental science, you can come from marketing, tech, or social development. There is really a lot to focus on when we talk of sustainable tourism. I will say every idea you have, every skill you've learned, and every action you take can really shape the future of the travel, or can really shape your career path. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those closing remarks. Shall I go to you, Stacey? Then Muthoni, your parting remarks? Stacey, are you there? maybe I lost Stacey. Muthoni, can you go ahead with your closing remarks?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, Stacey.
Yes. My closing remarks are just emphasizing students to be always in the relevant places and in the relevant spaces. In short, always be in the know. If you're talking about sustainable tourism, or if you're in the travel and tourism industry, you have to know what is happening in your industry and at least how you can make an impact, baby steps. Like, you might not know everything, but that little that you know, make sure people know you for sustainability, and don't misuse that sustainability term. So always be in the know, and also try to find I've seen questions on finding your niche. This is where your passion comes in, because maybe my passion is in teaching. I will go teach about sustainability. I'll go teach about digital skills. If my passion is in innovating, I'll come up with something. So always be, so it draws back to the first thing I have said: being in relevant spaces with relevant people, being in the right place and in the right time, so that you can be able to learn continuously. So those are my closing remarks, and never stop learning. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Muthoni, your closing remarks?
Thank you so much for this insightful discussion. It's been inspiring to hear different perspectives on sustainable tourism and role we play as young professionals. I believe this is just the beginning. We are running, growing, and finding our place in shaping a more responsible and inclusive tourism industry. I'm really grateful to be part of this journey. Thank you so much, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you. And like Mercy has told you, both you and Stacey will keep this poster and you will put it in your profile. Mercy has said every step counts, put together every little thing. I had a student come to us. I think she's amongst the first cohorts of the STTA Change-Makers, and now they had been shortlisted for a scholarship for a master's program in the UK. And she sent me three things. She sent me her certificate that she got in the end of NDA, one of the NDA symposiums, to prove that she was a member. And she told me she has sent this thing with the application. She sent me her student a card. And the last thing that she sent me was a symposium where she was making an NDA symposium. She was making a presentation, and at the end of it, I gave her something, a gift like we normally do, and I'd taken a picture with her, and the banner was at the back. And she told me that these are the things she presented for her shortlisting for the scholarship for a master's. And they were interested to learn about this Young Change-Makers program, where she was actively involved and she was making presentations, and she was able to show her membership. So there is you have to be intentional. Mercy has, Stacey has said, and Mercy as well. I love the Mercy, and I'm giving this example when Mercy says, profile what you have done. Just profile everything that you do. You never know when it becomes valuable for you in the future. So I want to thank my co-hosts today, and I want to thank all of you for participating. Thank you to all the faculty members for being here, for encouraging your students, and for adding your voice. As we conclude, I think we're echoing what everybody has said, is to stay actively engaged and connected. Just stay actively engaged and connected. That is what being intentional is: actively engaged and connected. And when you do that, like Mercy has said, there is no single pathway when it comes to sustainability. You can find your way and you can find your place. Thank you so much for coming. I turn this over to Dominic. He will ask us to all, if we can, put on our videos where we can, and he will do our final group photo. Like he says, the link to this discussion will be available on our YouTube channel. You can share it when you receive it. Everyone who registered will receive the link. Please share it far and wide so that others who are in the same space and are wondering what are the pathways can also listen to it. And we promise that we will try and have another of these sessions on career. We just believe that we should have seminars on careers, at least 1 or 2 every year. Thank you for responding to this call to join this webinar. Bye for now. If you cannot,
yeah, we want to take a screenshot of our faces. So if you're able to, kindly let us see for documentation purposes. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Mercy. Anyone else who want to join our selfie? Thank you, Sam. Yeah, thank you, thank you. So you can just wave as we see you. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I have sent some opportunities in the chat box. There is a volunteering opportunity by the East Africa Wildlife Society. Those who would like to volunteer in the forest challenge, they'll give you lunch, they'll give you transport to the place, and they'll give you airtime. So this is one of those places that you can go in case you want to volunteer. There's also another opportunity for you to contribute into the Young Change-Makers report for 2025. We've already received some few entries. So please check the link that I shared in the chat before we end this session. You can contribute. Anyone can contribute, including you, Mercy, the alumni. Anyone can contribute anyway. There are thematic areas. I think I've also shared a link where you can find the thematic areas where you can choose a topic from there. Share with us the topic that you want to discuss so that we make sure that we don't have another person who is writing the same thing. And then we'll give you the green light for that. You can share that via ycm@sttakenya.org. Anyway, thank you so much for finding time to join us today. See you in the next one. Bye.
bye everyone. I hope you have taken all note of all the links, and we can end the session now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.